Hello, Grace. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We're delighted to be able to have a conversation with you. So tell us, who is Grace?
It's always an oddly hard question, but I think the bare bones of it is I come from New Zealand. I'm here doing a Masters of Philosophy, but I guess as a person at the moment, I think in the last year I've probably found a lot more about myself just from being in this experience. But I think I'm someone that probably is really driven by a challenge, loves working towards a goal. And I think that's really, like, as long as I've got something in sight and working towards that, like, I feel like I've always got a really good direction, and I think that's what really, like, inspires me. And I know as long as I've got that in my life, I think I'm tend to be in a good place.
And when did you start thinking about coming to Cambridge and coming to Queens?
It was all relatively quickly in my mind. I think I had been rowing for so long, like literally leaving high school, I went full-time rowing. And then I knew after this most recent Olympics, I probably wanted to do something different. And then it's sort of the balance of not distracting myself with other things while I'm focusing on my, like, number one goal of going to the Olympics. But I think a few months before that, I heard of someone else coming here to Cambridge, and the more that she talked about it, I was like, oh, that sounds like an incredible opportunity. And quite a few other New Zealanders had come and been through here as well, and just raved about the year and just said it was like one of the best years of their lives. And it was kind of then that I was like, oh, that sounds like something that kind of ticks all the boxes for me: the study, the environment, the rowing as well. And then I was just set on it from there.
So what was it like when you first arrived in Queens?
It was so different. Yeah, I think a lot of things it took me quite a while to get my head around. I think there's just so much tradition and so many different things here, and so many different ways of explaining things and words and all of that I feel like I didn't really know what was going on for the first month, but in a really exciting way. Like, coming even to my matriculation, I was like, what is a matriculation? what it feels like I'm here to graduate and I haven't even started studying. But I think it was just, it was a really welcoming environment though as well. But it was just every day I think I was learning something new, and in such a different environment than I was used to, that it felt overwhelming, but in an exciting way.
And anything surprised you?
I think it's been the people that have surprised me the most. I thought everyone would be really friendly and welcoming, but being here, everyone you talk to is just so interesting, has come from such a different area, like such a different background here, studying such different things, that I think coming from a real rowing bubble that I've been in for about the last 10 years, that's really sort of blown my mind, what I've learnt from the people that I've met here. And everyone is just so friendly and wants to make friends and is so interested in you and interested in doing other interesting things as well. So I think that's been probably one of my highlights here as well, just the range of people you get to meet.
That's wonderful. Now, I remember meeting you and Ruby, another rower from New Zealand,
yes,
who was at Queens, and being very struck when you told me what your timetable was like. So share with our friends watching this. What was it like? What was a typical day for you?
Yeah, it's been a busy year. I think that's why it's gone so fast, because there's not a lot of downtime. But we got quite into the routine. So we would normally be leaving our accommodation at about 5:30 in the mornings to catch a train at 5:57 every morning. Oh, not every morning. Some mornings we don't have to, which are good mornings. And then you do about a 10-minute bike to the train station, then you catch a 15-minute train, then you get in a van for about 2 minutes, then you arrive at rowing, and it's just, there's not a second to waste really. Like, everyone's just on the water quickly, row as pretty much as far as you can in the time frame, back off, quickly shower, running to the train again, and then all to get back to a lecture at 9 a.m. And then obviously everyone has their lectures and placements and all that throughout the day, and then you head back over to Goldie in the afternoon to do an erg or weights or things, and then maybe you'll catch up with friends if you've got some energy or time, and then dinner in bed and all over again. So it's, the days go very fast.
It sounds absolutely exhausting.
It is exhausting, yeah. But I think it's exhausting, but you don't want to miss out on anything because there's so many cool opportunities here that I think I've just accepted that I'm going to have a lot less sleep this year, and I'll catch up next year.
So that training was for the boat race.
Yes, yeah.
And not only did you win the boat race, but Cambridge also set a record. So tell us a little bit, how was that day? Did it meet your expectations? Were people nervous? What was the conversation beforehand?
Yeah, I think it actually exceeded my expectations. I had talked to people that had done it before, that I was rowing with this year and in the past as well, and they talked about how exciting the day was and how big of an event it is. So I thought I knew what I was in for, but then doing the whole day, it was just chaotic the whole day. Like the amount of people that were there, and I think also in rowing, you're used to having maybe a grandstand that cheers for you in the last couple 100 meters at the most, and still then it's not.
Even at the Olympics?
Even at the Olympics, yeah. And then this way you've got 8K stretch of people yelling the whole way, and even walking the boat out, and how many people are there, and it was definitely go down as one of my more memorable races, and I think just the tradition of it. To be part of such like a historic event, and the like Cambridge Oxford, like that dynamic, it's all so new to me, but it was also exciting to be a part of. But yeah, the day definitely exceeded my expectations.
So what do you say to people who say, surely having won a gold medal at the Olympics, having won a silver medal at the Olympics, this must have been really easy?
It definitely wasn't easy. I think I have a new appreciation for studying full time and training like you're training full time as well. I think coming here, I thought the training would potentially be a little bit less than it was, but the amount that you can fit into a day if you really have to is blowing my mind. And I think the dedication that I saw from the women that I was rowing with showed me how much the boat race meant to everybody. And then they're off working in hospitals during the day, or studying in labs, or doing all that, but then willing to get up every morning and evening and train for this race. And yeah, I think seeing what they wanted to put into it, I was like, this is a very, very special event. And I think now having been through it, I do understand it.
That's wonderful. So, okay, so day of the race, you're on the river. When did you realize that Cambridge was going to win? And did it ever occur to you that you were going to beat the record?
I think it was a really weird feeling lining up, because I've done a lot of racing in my time, and you always kind of know where you sit against your competition, but we hadn't raced Oxford ever. So it's like, we might start the race, we might be faster, we might be slower, it might be even, and I think it made for a really exciting feeling. Like I was just so intrigued, because I knew our boat was going well, but you don't know how well your competition's going. But I think once it started, I was like, okay, we've had a really good start. It never felt comfortable. I think you always are aware that people are just there, and they were a really good crew and never really completely dropped off. So it probably wasn't until we crossed the finish line that I was like, okay, we've definitely got this. But yeah, it was a bit of a blur and a bit of a whirlwind. But then and then I guess the whole celebrations happened, and it's...
So when did you hear that you had done it in 18 minutes and 22 seconds?
Yeah, I think it wasn't until probably we pulled in, and then it was a few minutes later someone told us our official time, and I think it surprised me, because you just don't know how you're going, and Jasper, our coxswain, talked a little bit about times during it, but obviously the main thing is racing your competition. So I think it was just like icing on the cake, and especially we had a number of women in our crew that had obviously done the boat race in early last year, and then also been a part of the year that it was cancelled. So I think it made it even more special that I think they got what they really deserved after quite a rocky few years, which was nice.
That's wonderful. Okay, so for most people, an MPhil will be enough. For a small minority of people, an MPhil and a boat race would be enough. But you managed even other accomplishment. One of them was an honor.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it really came out of the blue for me because obviously when you're doing what you're passionate about, you're just thinking about that and you don't really think about the things that might come from it, from doing that. And then I think when I got the email, I was a little bit confused, being like, I don't really understand. Like, and then.
So when did you get the email?
It was probably about a month before it was publicly announced.
And you're sworn to secrecy, right?
Yeah, I was sworn to secrecy. I did tell my mum. Well, accidentally. She actually, my letters get sent home in New Zealand, and she got this one that said private and confidential. And she was like, "Can I open it?" I think the intrigue was too much for her, and it happened to be that. So she was very excited that she got to read it as well. But yeah, I think it probably wasn't until it was officially announced that it really sunk in, and seeing who else was on the list, I think put it in perspective of how special it was. And I think that's when I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And it's another hard thing to get your head around. I think you never really expect it. So it was really surprising.
So the Queen's Birthday and Platinum Jubilee Honour for you being appointed as member of the New Zealand Order of Merit.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Now I can put some letters after my name, which is very exciting. But yeah, honestly, it's still one of those things. I think I talk a little bit about it with my family. That is, you never think it's going to happen to you. But yeah, it's very exciting. And then it was really special that I got to be named along with 2 other New Zealand rowers as well, who I've done a lot with in the past. So I think sharing that experience with them makes it even more special.
So tell us about the celebration.
Yeah, it was really nice because obviously I was over here and I was getting to join in a lot of the Jubilee celebrations as well, and being in the country where the Queen actually lives. I think it made it even more special. But yeah, I think my family celebrated at home. I celebrated here.
How many newspaper interviews and media?
A couple. I randomly had one in Cambridge as well. It was a New Zealand reporter who was over for the Black Caps, so I brought him through Queens, and we had a nice interview here for the newspaper at home. But yeah, there's been a few.
So you're an inspiration for not just Queen's students, but for many, many people. How do you think about that? Is that a massive responsibility? How do you think about the fact that you are such an inspiration, such an example for others?
I think it's another thing to get your head around, because I know the people that I looked up to when I was getting into rowing or just in general life, and I think I never kind of see myself on that same level, but then you have people that come up to you and ask for advice or photos or little things like that, and I think it feels really nice to be able to give back, and I really quite genuinely enjoy doing that as well. So when it happens, it makes it, you put so much time and effort and so many people help you along your way, that it's nice to be able to sort of start giving back to the next generation. And if I can depart some wisdom from my time, it's lessons I've learned, so hopefully I can pass them on to others.
What do you say to a young girl thinking, I can't do this, I can't possibly combine all this, I can't even do a part of it?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing I say to people is, it's not like I was ever sitting there when I was younger being like, I'm exceptional at everything. I think, you feel like you're a very normal person, and I think in my mind, it was always people that were these incredible and inspirational people that could only go on to do it. But I think everyone that's got there at a time in their life sat there feeling very, very ordinary. So I don't think you have to sort of count yourself out if you don't feel like that. And it's just kind of finding something that you really are passionate about, because if you really care about something, the training or the effort that goes into it actually doesn't feel like a chore. So I think I just try and sort of pass that knowledge on, that if you really want something and you're willing to put in the work, then anyone can actually achieve some.
So you never had a moment of doubt? I can't possibly do all my studies, all this training.
There's been moments of doubt and moments of stress. I think I just have to sort of work through those ones. But yeah, there's definitely been more stressful moments. But that's when I've had some very, very supportive supervisors and then coaches and friends as well that kind of put things in perspective for you. And I think I've learnt that if you let yourself get very stressed, then you're just going to get nothing done. So just set little goals and you feel like you're always achieving something. But yeah, there's definitely been points where I'm like, I've got a lot to do and not a lot of time. But it always gets done. A bit of pressure is a good thing.
So I mentioned that you inspire a lot of students and younger people. You also inspire older people. We had one donor who named a sports bursary after you. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was a very big surprise to me, and I was fortunate enough to sit next to Richard Hargraves at the dinner as well, and kind of get to know him. And I think having someone that's willing to do that in your name felt like a massive honour that I really didn't expect. And I think the thought of someone getting to have that bursary every year I think that's really special. And being here, and I've had bursaries as well, and know how much it helps you when there's so much going on and you don't want to miss out on those extracurricular activities, but it can be financially quite difficult to do it. It feels very special that my name can be tied to that, and to have someone willing to not use their own name and use mine is even more special on top of that.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And presumably you'll be in touch with whoever has that.
Yeah, I can't wait for the first person to get it, so that's going to be exciting.
So on the what next, tonight you have your first May ball.
Yes, I do.
What are you expecting?
I'm expecting a big night, but I think I've been out and about this week and just seeing everyone dressed up and heading to them, and actually every morning when I get up to go out to training, we'll be sitting in the lounge and we see everyone walking home from them. So I'm slightly nervous about the time frame of it, but I'm so excited. I think coming here, I knew I'd heard about the May Balls, and everyone was like, that's something you've got to do. So I still don't quite know what to expect, but I'm very excited.
And we've got to have you come back for the Queens May Ball next year. It's every 2 years.
Oh yeah, initially I was sad that it wasn't this year, but I was like, actually it's a very good excuse to go back next year for another May Ball. So I've already got it locked in.
So I was going to say, surely it's now time for you to relax, but it's not, right? You've got some competitions coming up.
Yes, not quite time to relax. I thought it would be time to relax as well, but no, I've joined back in with Kerry Gowler, who I was rowing in the Tokyo Olympics with, and I've actually been fortunate enough to bring her to Cambridge for a few weeks, and she's got to live the Cambridge life as well. But we are training and we'll race in Henley next week, and then the week after at the Lucerne World Cup, and then later in the year at the World Champs. So still busy.
So same boat, just out of interest?
Same boat, yes.
So how does the boat get to Lucerne?
They will drive it for us. The coaches have the tough job of driving all the boats over.
Okay, and then will you take a break after that or not?
Yes, then that's a locked in break. Yeah, I won't get roped into anything else. That will be a break. Yeah, much needed.
And what next? What's the next big project?
I think after the rowing world champs this year, that's when I'll really have to sit down and decide what I want to do rowing wise. Whether I want to keep going to the Paris Olympics or if that's enough for me. And I think I'm a little bit up in the air about that at the moment. Like I've achieved probably more than I thought I would, and maybe it's time to explore the working world. But yeah, I think racing at the World Champs will sort of give me that clarity. So then I'll either be locked into Paris for rowing, or I'll be on the kind of next stage of my life, which would be kind of getting into the career, and which both options actually really excite me, and I think I'm very lucky to have options.
So let me ask you a really difficult question, even more difficult than what I've asked you.
Oh yes.
What do you think Grace is doing in 10 years' time?
That is very difficult. I think in 10 years' time, I think I'll be well and truly settled into the next stage of my life, regardless of whether I row or not for the next 2 years. Where I'll be, I don't know. I hope I'm still really driven by a goal, and I imagine that would be career-wise. And I think whether I'm doing that at the end of this year or in 2 years' time after the Paris Olympics, I can't wait to sort of start figuring out what I'm passionate about work-wise. Because since leaving high school, I've dedicated my time to rowing, and I haven't sort of got into that space yet. So hopefully I've found something that I'm equally as passionate about, and maybe still coming back and visiting Queens every second year for the Mayville. But yeah, I think it is a funny thought, but yeah, hopefully still working towards it.
Somehow, I am incredibly confident that you will excel at whatever you choose to do.
Thank you, I hope.
So let me say two things. One, congratulations. You've had an amazing year.
Thank you.
And it's not often that I come across people who manage to get as much done as you did and do it with such excellence. And then thank you. Thank you for being a member of Queens. Thank you for inspiring so many people. And thank you for giving us something that we can refer to when we get the next Grace who says, I can't possibly do it all. And you've shown us all that it can be done, and it can be done brilliantly and with grace. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me, and I've genuinely really loved my time at Queens, and I felt so welcome, and for being here for such a short amount of time, I didn't think I would become so attached to a place. So I think it's very special, and yeah, thank you very much.
Well, you have many reasons to come back.
Yes, I definitely do.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.